Hi gang, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. It's Samantha back with another little video. Hope you're all doing okay. Welcome to my neck of the woods, my little corner of the world, northwest of England. It's a beautiful day today. So I basically, let's get into it today. I thought today we would have a look at a few cute little clasps. Now, I know there are lots and lots of clasps, demonstrations available on this wonderful YouTube, but I thought I'd just show you a few of my favourite ones that I use quite a lot. So I'm going to go through 5 and I'm going to show you the simple, easy version and then a cute little way of embellishing. So we're going to go through these guys and the S Clasp and how I like to embellish them, and also a simple shepherd's hook, how to embellish that one, and this simple double over one and how to embellish that. And then I thought I would show you how to do this absolutely gorgeous clasp, which is just along the same lines as the Egyptian bracelet, but isn't that a beautiful clasp? So stick with me and we will have a look at all these cute little clasps. Perfect for all sorts of different applications, necklaces, bracelets, that kind of thing. Okay, so bear with me and I will just go through a very brief list of materials. Okay, so I'll be back in a sec. Righty-ho, so when I make my clasps, I like to use 16 gauge wire, mainly because I think it gives the clasps a little bit more stability. So my opinion is go for 1.25 16 gauge, just because, like I say, it's a lot stronger and better for clasps. So you'll need some of that. For doing the little wrapping bits, I use 0.5 for this, which I think is 24 gauge, and I use 0.4 26 gauge for this one. So just whatever you fancy really. 0.5, 0.4, just to do the wrapping on these kind of little guys here. And you'll need a bead. Now, when I do these kind of hooks, sometimes I leave them, sort of simple like this, or if I'm making a necklace or a bracelet, I'll quite often embellish it with a bead to match the bracelet, if that makes sense. All right, so let's go for it. Apart from that, you're just going to need some regular tools, your normal tools that you use pretty much all the time. I'm using a 6-step bail making plier because I like this guy, 2 to 9 millimeter increments, but that's just my choice. You can use anything you like, but the measurements I'm going to give you today are based around this particular plier here. All right, so let's get going. Which one shall we do first? Let's do the simple one first. Well, they're all simple. brilliant clasp for all sorts of things. So I like this one when you need a clasp to be side on, if not like that, but like that. It's a really lovely simple clasp. So let's do that one first. Let's get these out of the way. So for this one, you're going to need to take your 16 gauge wire. All right, give it a bit of a stretch out like so. Just move these out of the way. I'm hoping, guys, that I managed to keep on camera and focused. Not sure what's going on recently, but I've been struggling a little bit with my camera, so hopefully. I'm not sure whether it's because my eyesight is getting worse. I don't know. So you're going to need 5 centimeters of wire. Righty-ho, so 5 centimeters of wire. Let's just cut this off. Make sure you flush cut both the ends, like so, to make it nice and neat. 5 centimeters. Let's just double check that. I'm not using my usual ruler, so things are a little bit awry today. Right, so you come in with your pliers. What we want to do is make this little part here. So you just take your plier, bend it around, and like so. So we have this. You come in with your pliers. I'm using the 6-step, which is 9 millimeters, and bend it around like so. So we have this, I'm just going to hoof through these actually because, you know, it gets a bit boring otherwise. And then I'm using my first step. You could adapt this and use your round nose if you wanted to. Use the tip of your round nose for this bit and the bottom of your round nose for the larger bit. But like I say, all of the information I'm giving is around these pliers. So here we go. I've made a very, very nice, very simple little clasp here. Now, normally I would just gently hammer around this part here just to give it some stability. But in order to give it a little bit of a flourish, come in with some, I'm using 0.5mm. You can use 0.4, whatever you like. And I would start at this end here, like so. Wrap it around and wrap it around. Lovely way to embellish a little simple clasp, just to give it a little bit more oomph, I think, don't you think? And you just basically just keep wrapping it around with you know, this wire here. Keep it all nice and tight and secure until you end up with this. So there's our first really simple clasp and a beautiful way to embellish it. Let's move on to number 2. So let's have a look at number 2. So the S clasp. Now this is a really commonly used clasp, but I think it's nice to embellish it sometimes as well, so that you can have just a little bit of, you know, an interest, a bit of a flourish, like so. So let's make the S clasp. Again, I'm using 1.25 16 gauge wire, flush cut the ends as always. And you're going to need 6 centimeters of this to make this clasp, which measures approximately 2 centimeters, which is about 3/4 of an inch, just over. All right, so 6 centimeters of wire. Make sure that you flush cut the ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go, 6 centimeters. Really, really simple, all of these, but perfect for all sorts of different applications. So again, come in with your plier, and on one end, again, make this little edge here. There are some people who like to file the edge down so that, you know, it fits nice and snugly against the wire. You know, sometimes I've done that, but it doesn't bother me too much. You want to make another one of these on the other side, but in the opposite direction. Okay, so just in the opposite direction, just at the very tip, bend it over, and if your wire will let you, give it a squeeze so that we have this. All right, so I'm using the 4th step on my plier for this one, which is this here, 2, 3, 4, 5 millimeters. With this loop facing you, butt it up against your plier and wind it around like so. Do the same thing on the other side. Wind it around like so. So you have a perfect S clasp. Now again, I would use my hammer just to give that a little tap around here to give it some texture and some stability. But if you're wanting to make this version, you would come in with the same amount of wire. Again, 6 centimeters, flush cut the ends, and we'll go for 6 centimeters, like so. So we start, the principle is exactly the same. You come in with your pliers, like so. And before you do the next part, you want to put some beads on, or a bead, or whatever it is you fancy doing. Let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. Let's use some of these green ones today. So you know me, if you've been watching me for long enough, you know that I really like seed beads in jewellery. I think they're really, really pretty with wire. So let's get these 3 on. So you pop your 3 little beads on. Make sure they actually fit, Sammy. They don't fit. Bear with me. Aha, great piece of advice there for somebody who's not a professional, is to make sure that the beads fit on before you start filming. That's a really good idea, isn't it, Samantha? Well done. So we put our beads on, all right? So these are quite nice little turquoise ones, and we do the same thing. So in the opposite direction, like so, we make the other end. Very, very similar to what we did before without the beads, but this time we put the beads on. So we have this with these beads in the middle. Now, what I suggest you do is you form the S first before you start wrapping, because it can distort when if you wrapped this first and then bent your wire, it can pull all the wires, you know, these wrapping wires out of shape. But if that's the way, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's absolutely fine. So again, come in with your fourth step, or whichever step you want, bend round, move the beads in the opposite direction, bend round to make the S shape. So here we have these little beads are moving around, aren't they? So we want to secure them. So we come in with some 0.4, I think that's 26 gauge. And again, you just literally start to wrap around about halfway. So I don't know, you'd sort of measure it around here. Oops. And just wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap until you're happy on both sides. So you would wrap all the way around here and then turn, making sure that these are central. You wrap on the other side. Really, really simple. I won't do it because obviously you know exactly what I'm talking about. So there's our second beautiful clasps, plain and embellished. Okay, so let's have a look at number 3. So what shall we do next? So let's have a look at this one. Beautiful, beautiful, really, really simple, very elegant, perfect if you want something again that's on the side like this. Yeah, so let's go ahead and have a look how we make this one. So again, I'm taking the 16 gauge, 1.25, flush cut the end. You're going to need around 10 centimeters, give or take. It's not prescriptive. I'm going to use, you know, between sort of 9 and 10, and you should be fine. Right, so we want to make this little angle, this little hook at the end, as usual. So we take our plier and over like so. Give it a bit of a squeeze, like so. And then I'm going to take the 5th step on my plier this time, this one, and butting your little loop up against the plier like that. Just bend it around like so. So you have essentially a shepherd's crook type of hook here. I'm going to need to straighten this a little bit and pop a little bit of an angle on it. So around about here, like there, I'm just going to give it a bit of a tweak, like that. Okay, so that's all we do. The next thing we want to do is to make a wire wrap loop. So we all know how to do these, hopefully by this time, hopefully. So what I suggest you do is in the same direction, come in with your plier around about here. So you want to have this area here enough for about 3 wraps. So bend it away from you on an angle, like so. Come in with, I used my second, I did. I'm using the second step on my plier, like so. Bend it towards you. Obviously with it being slightly thicker gauge, you know, it might just need a little bit more work from your fingers, but that's fine. Come in with your tools next. So hold this here, and then we want to be wire wrapping this wire around about 3 times. So that's once and twice and 3 times, and I just pop it back under. There we go. I've marked the wire here a little bit, but that doesn't matter to me. If you want to come in with your nylon jaw, or indeed pop some painter's tape over your plier, you know, just so you can grasp without marring your wire, that's absolutely fine. Doesn't matter to me, just shows that it's handmade for me. And then just come in like so, and there is our cute little hook clasp. All right, so again, I would just hammer around here gently just to give it some stability. So if you're wanting to make the beaded version, again, super simple, exactly the same way. Take our 10 centimeters, I will just flush cut that end. Probably get away with 9. Let's try 9 centimeters with this one, like so. And again, like so. And then come in with my 5th step on my plier. The only thing you need to remember about this particular one, that is when you are putting your bead on, just make sure, obviously, that your bead fits over your wire, because, you know, we all make that mistake. So just put a little bit of an angle here so that it's straight. All right, so we come in with our bead. I'm going to use these gorgeous purple jaspers. So let's find a pretty one, that'll do. I mean, they're all pretty, aren't they? These lovely beads. But again, you know, as long as the bead fits over the wire, you can use the same beads as if, you know, as what you're using for your necklace or your bracelet, so everything sort of matches. But I'm just using these today. So pop your bead on like so. Exactly the same principle. Make a little wire wrap loop next to your bead. So put an angle on here. Come in with your pliers, whichever ones you're using, and literally make a nice, simple, pretty, neat wire wrap loop like so. And again, like I say, if you don't want to mar your wire, use your nylon jaw. Although I find nylon jaw pliers a bit slippy for this kind of thing, so, you know, it's up to you. And then wire wrap, that's it, and around. Like so. And then just snip your excess. Actually, yes, you could get away with 9 centimeters, couldn't you? So whatever takes your fancy. Just come in and square that up and tighten that up. And there we have our beaded embellished version of this very simple hook. Isn't that pretty? Right, so what's next? Shall we go for the next one? Yeah. Let's go for this one. This is a really, really nice simple clasp, and it's a good one for when you want to have a clasp that sits up and down rather than side to side. Okay, so let's go for this one. So you can embellish this one with a little bit of funky, messy wire wrapping. I like to use the word messy because it looks messy to me, but I think it looks really cute. Or you could just have it very simple like so. So let's do this one. Again, I think probably 10 centimeters is about right, just short of 4 inches. So again, flush cut. I think it's a good principle to flush cut most things, and then you know that you're in the right spot and everything's nice and neat. Righty-ho, so here we have our 10 centimeters of wire. You want to find the center of that 10 centimeters. So obviously I'm great at maths. That is, ooh, what, 5. I'm feeling that way out today. There we go. So find the center and bend like so. If it's slightly off, don't worry about it. You can tidy that up in a second. So you then come in with your plier and just squeeze like so. So you have this little end like this. All right. So as you can see here, I've slightly off done it. It's not quite level. So if that happens, just come in and make a little snip. You're not losing very much. Righty-ho. So I'm using the second step for the hoops. So keeping these two tight together as best you can. It's easier to do it both together, because if you try and do it one wire at a time, you sort of distort your wire. So just see if you can come in like so. Bend your wire around like so. If you have one that doesn't, you know, quite meet, all you need to do is just to come in with your plier. Oops, it's hard to do this under the camera. I'll just do it from this angle. And then just, you know, just tighten things up. Then you just want to make a slight angle on both of these, like so. Can you see that? Very, very simply, all you do now is come in with the 5th step of my plier, and about, I don't know, how many millimeters is that? About here. All you need to do with these hoops on the left, if you're left-handed, you know, reverse what I'm doing. Just gently pull this around so that you make this clasp like so. And then what I would do is just put a little lip on the end of it, mainly so it makes it easier for you to pop that through your jump ring or whatever it is you're using. All right, and then you can tighten that little one up a little bit if you wanted. So there's a perfectly simple excuse me, easy clasp if you're wanting something that's a little bit more up and down. So as I said, you can embellish it if you wanted to. So all you do is just come in with a length of your wire. I mean, I sit down and just make these in front of the TV, and then I've got various types of clasp, you know, for when you're making something and you're just ready for a clasp. So I just come in with the wire and I just scrappily and arbitrarily just wrap it around like so. I just think it gives it a little bit of interest, if you like that. It's certainly nice if you're going to put a patina on your work, because I think that wire wrapping like this looks really, really stylish actually with a patina on it. Just wind that around and then just chop the ends. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. I hope you're enjoying this video particularly. I just wanted to make it a quick flash, you know, quick fire. And I'll put each of these clasps in chapters so that you can just come and refer back to them if you want to. So there is our beautiful, simple clasp that you can embellish if you want to. So that's number 4, isn't it? So that's 4 perfectly beautiful clasps that you can use for all sorts of things. However, here's the bonus clasp. You can embellish these if you wanted to, I suppose, but this I thought was just a very, very pretty clasp, and you can attach it to your bracelet with jump rings on either side, that kind of thing. Perfect. So jump rings here, jump rings here. So let's go ahead and have a look at how to make these. So again, 1.25 millimeter 16 gauge wire. I think this clasp, in fact, I think all clasps are probably better off in a slightly thicker gauge. So for this clasp part here, you're going to need around 12 centimeters of wire. So let's have a look here. Oh, bear with me. All fingers and thumbs today, guys. That's just the way it is. 12 centimeters. Marvellous. Right, so all you need to do now is to come in with your plier. So I'm going to use this plier here, the end of my bail making plier, the first step. You're going to want to start to make a loop. I don't know if you saw my video on how to make the Egyptian coil bracelet. It's essentially the same principle. So I will link that up here somewhere so that you can go and have a look at that. I know it's been done before, but you know, it's just a video on how I make mine. So you have this here. So what you want to do is to make spirals. So come in with your plier, use your nylon jaw if you prefer, and I wrap mine until this center part here is facing outwards. So I've got a wrap and then a wrap, and then this part here is facing that way. So start from here, wrap it around until this part here is facing outwards. So we have this here, which I'll measure that for you. Measures approximately 6 centimeters from each end of the coils, approximately, give or take a millimeter or two. Right, so what we do now is we need to bend this together like that, you see? So what we do is you can, use whichever pliers you like, eyeball it if you want to, which is what I tend to do, pliers right at the end. And with these, obviously if you're right-handed, with these facing that way. If you're left-handed, obviously, reverse what I'm doing. So we want to bend these until these are level with each other, which they are, give or take. And then we want to squish this down here. So do this nice and gently with control. If you rush it, you'll end up hurting yourself, as I've done a few times, because the wire will go blit on you, and that's when you end up sticking the end of your plier into your hands. Can you tell I've done that before? Oh dear. So there we go, like so. So you've got pretty much this. Now if you wanted to give a little bit of texture, hammer these gently if you wanted to. It's absolutely up to you, but this is what we have. Again, like I say, very similar to, well, same thing as the Egyptian bracelet. So what we need to do now is to make this hook part here. See if I can get that to focus. Is that focusing? Oh dear. So I'm using the 4th step on my plier. So you butt it up around about here. You see that? And then just gently bend this around. Oh, that's my dog snoring. Until you make this here. Make that slightly longer if you wanted to, and if you wanted to do that, that's absolutely fine. I find that this length is perfect, but again, if you wanted this slightly longer, you can do. Just increase the length of your wire from about 12 centimeters to maybe 13 or 14 centimeters. Just put a little lip on it, like so, and squeeze it together. So there we are. That's our little hook part of our clasp. So to make the other side of it, exactly the same principle, but you need 9 centimeters for this one here. So I shall just do that for you quickly. So I hope this isn't too quick. I know some people accuse me of talking too much, but again, this is a chatty channel and I like to chat. It's good for my mental health. Sharing pretty things with you guys, but also, I don't have very many people to talk to, so sounds really sad that, doesn't it? But I do spend a lot of time on my own. So when my kids aren't here, I spend a bit of time on my own. So mentally, this is why I chat. So I do apologise if that's irritating. So again, just start with a little loop on either side, which we're going to make into a very organic spiral. You can make perfect spirals if you want, and oh, you all right, dog? Hello, yes. I'll maybe do a video on perfect spiral one day, but you literally do the same thing. Round and round and round, round and round, until you get to the same spot, like so, like so. All right, so this is what we have. And that measures, what, about 3 centimeters. So half the size of this. Remember when that was 6 centimeters from this side to side? This is actually 3. So all you need to do now is come in and make a little loop. So you can make the loop however you know, however big or small you want it. So just pop it on your pliers. I've used the 4th one for this, but you can make it a tighter loop if you want to. So again, pop your plier thus and bend it away. So these ones here want to go in the opposite direction. So you wouldn't bend towards the loops, you bend away from them. The spirals, should I say. Like so. In towards each other, like so. And there we have our little spirals. Oh gosh, my dog is coughing now, honestly. So here we have it. So you would attach that end with jump rings, this end with jump rings, and there is your pretty clasp. So that has, you know, that's a lovely bonus little clasp for you. How cute is that? Beautiful on the wrist, like so. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this little quick fire video on how to make some extremely pretty, very basic, but very pretty clasps, which, like I say, you can embellish if you want to. Beautiful embellished little clasps here with wire wrapping or plain, beaded or plain, entirely up to you guys. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will be back very shortly with another one, because I like making these videos and I'm really happy to have you here along for the ride. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.